Good evening, traders. This is Christian Fromhertz, Tribeca Trade Group, with your end of day market summary. And what a day it was. Well, we had indices open very lightly today. We were down over 1% at one point. We saw Europe. Europe was really the catalyst, as well as oil. Oil started the day pretty hard, down in the red. And so did Europe. Europe was down over 1%. I think actually down at 1.2%, and only to see a rebound starting right around 11:30. So right after Europe closed, kind of saw some interesting things taking place. So let's go first to the big mover of the day, which it seems like equity markets continue to be very correlated to what's going on in oil. So to start off with, last night, API numbers came out. This is what caused the initial move after hours on, what is that, Tuesday? I'm getting my days confused already. But a move down in oil initially on the API inventory numbers last night. Then around 3 o'clock in the morning, oil really sold off pretty hard. Then, of course, we had the Department of Energy numbers. Quick bid move right after those numbers were released at 10:30. Sold off, which you normally see this whippy price action in oil on the day of inventory. Sometimes the initial move, it actually reverses and goes the other way. But there wasn't anything that great in terms of the actual inventories. It's just the fact, I guess, of what's being priced in and what's not. Where's commodities? Let's see. Yeah, so the inventories, they did actually, this is gasoline. Oil inventories, to me, actually showed a build, but it's all what the street is expecting. So you can even look at these surveys. The number was greater than that. But, some of this seems to be already priced in. And if there's not a huge number, we get the reaction that we had today. So right around this, so oil came back in, and then right around 11:30 is where we started to see everything turn around. This is when Europe closed, and I was actually watching a couple different things on my screen. I always have oil hooked in where this initial move happened, but I was also watching IWM. And IWM was one of the first things to really show some signs of life. Right around 11:30, I don't think it was underperforming that poorly or that much compared to S&P, but you could see right around, this gave the first hint. I think these green bars in 1 second, but I think in IWM, I even tweeted this out. I said, wow, what a difference. IWM is really starting to move up here. Going to the S&P. I guess you have the same kind of move right around 11:30, but it seemed like it was just a little bit more pronounced in IWM than it was in S&P. Perhaps it was leading. This is around 11:30, 11:35. I think the IWM move was a little bit more to the upside before this S&P move started. What I found most revealing, again, I threw this out on Twitter as well, right around this, when this time frame was moving. But if you jump to the hourly chart, let me zoom out. Thinkorswim just doesn't like to do this. So, looking at the days, what happened over the last couple of days, this is a very interesting trend line. We keep butting up against this trend line, and then we sold off. We touched it. I guess this is yesterday, and then rejected it again and moved down. Today we opened up lower. Take a look at where we went to. So if you don't have value area studies, this is a great indicator to have. We went all the way down right to the bottom of this value area, and man, what an indicator this was today. We actually had a hammer bar right here, and also it coincided with, if you use RSI, when the indices get really overbought or oversold, it's very different than single stocks. Single stocks can stay overbought, oversold, but the indices tend to, like, once they get, past 25, they've gone too far too fast. So if you use this in conjunction with the value areas, here was your reversal bar. You also see this nice, it's not a perfect hammer bar, but close enough. And over the hours, you could see, a little bit of digestion here. But you can see this nice move up. You can see as well, once I take this back. But again, notice where we got to at the end of the day. We actually touched here, came back in with the top of the top of the value area, came back a little bit and then powered through. So now we're above value for the on the day. Where are we in terms of? So right back here again, so a lot of people said, one thing that I noticed was that we held above this particular level. This morning it looked like, if you looked at it around 10 o'clock this morning, it was like, wow, we are going to definitely roll over. That's what the charts were telling me. Somebody asked me a little bit later in the day, what does this mean now? Well, I think we've got some sideways action, and I think it's really difficult to tell right now. So the price, number one, closed. We never really got, we never really broke this. We didn't close below this by any means. But again, we're butting up against the top of the value area. So, we've tried this now once, twice, 3 different times, this value area. So sometimes it takes a little time before you can bust above this. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I tend to watch levels that are very close. And if we pop above this particular level in the ES, which is, this is what I've been quoting for the last couple of days, 1934, 1935, and then we've got some runway ahead, but that remains to be seen. So can't really go into too much detail about that. Some of the, we saw some back and flow orders in terms of the indices. Saw some put buying in the morning, then we saw some call buying right around at 11:30. A lot in the Qs. Not so much in IWM, but more in the Qs. A couple interesting orders. The order of the day, I thought, was there was, when everything was looking horrible, we saw a couple orders of Netflix come in. Going all the way out to April, there was a pretty big buyer of Netflix, and I immediately went in on this particular order. I thought this was a great signal. Going out to April, oops, why don't I have this? Here we go. Let's see if I can find this. April and May calls. Yeah, pretty expensive orders here. They went after these a couple times. So $6.74. Only 1,000 contracts, but taking a look at the price, this was a lot of premium. And then we also saw the weeklies bought as well. So once I saw, I took a couple of the, I don't usually like to go out this far, especially I was just kind of looking to play a pop, but I bought a couple of these immediately, and then I looked at the weeklies. So I actually own 2 different lines of these today, and you could take a look at what Netflix today. So I'm calling Netflix the trade of the day today. This is when everything was looking pretty poorly in the day. But an awesome move. This is literally where you saw the call buying right around the lows of the day, and they went after it a couple times here, all in this area. So you had to kind of fight through here. I was using the low of the day because I did take one target very quickly on the Netflix order, and once it got down low, I said, you know what, I'm going to use the low of the day as my stop, and bam, it took off and never looked back. Couple other names. I was in some Apple calls. That name I actually chickened out in. Embarrassed to say, but if I would have used the same criteria as I did in Netflix, I didn't see any great unusual option activity, so that's why I bailed in Apple. Probably right around here. Once I saw that we started to go down, here's where I bailed in Apple, and it only took a couple more bars. I didn't know at 9:30 we were going to see this complete turnaround. But the other thing to note today was in Breath. Breath opened up on the lows and did nothing but kind of crawl back until right around 11:30. We saw more progress, and then at 2 o'clock everything kind of flipped to the positive side. So Breath really, gave a little bit of a mixed signal in the morning, but then if you follow market breadth closely, it really progressively got better and better and better. So something to watch there. What else did I find interesting in unusual option activity? A couple different signals. The other thing that I found peculiar as well, and I threw this in Twitter as well, but we saw a lot of chip buying, call buying, MCHP. I believe one of the Nigerians said something on the halftime report about MCHP. Skyworks was another one. So there was a lot of tech buying and a lot of chip names and a lot of tech names. We saw Skyworks calls. We saw Ciena calls. I was in these. Got out of them pretty quickly, but nice signal in Ciena. Saw a little bit of Texas. calls in this as well. You know, a lot of these occurred right in this area of the market. Let me go back to S&P. But you know, if you just paid attention to the tape, and you know, a couple of people asked, you know, well, I missed the signals today. You know, you're going to get a plenty of opportunity. I think all you have to do is kind of just watch the tape, watch what people are buying, and look for themes. That's what I noticed. You know, and I had a lot of short positions this morning, and I got caught. I didn't pick up on it right away, but I did start to see the warning signals. I started to see a lot of tech buying. I started to see that move in IWM, and I said, you know what? It could be also that you know, the weight of Europe. Once Europe closes, you know, I don't usually like to initiate positions after 11:30, but sometimes that kick right after when Europe closes, you know, we used to see that a couple of years ago, and that's been a pretty big signal. So, you know, I don't think you really need to guess right now. You know, I was telling someone who said, okay, does that mean we're going up now? It's too soon to tell. You know, I think if you stay nimble in this market and just read the tape and take a look at these particular orders. Another order that I found very unusual was there's a big Deutsche Bank buyer today. So, you know, so this is another area of the market to look for clues. The financials, which have really gotten beaten up. Let's see what KRE did today. KRE had a little bit of a reversal bar. You know, what I'm looking for in this particular chart is it almost looks like, you know, here's one shoulder, here's a head, there could be another shoulder possibly forming, maybe an inverted head and shoulders. Something definitely to keep an eye on here in KRE, and also watch the tape. You know, try to look for patterns in charts, but let these orders, you know, if somebody starts to go after Deutsche Bank calls, I actually took a little bit of a position in this. Let me get out of here. Sorry about that. But let these signals, you know, let the order flow kind of give you an indication if the market is going to turn. That certainly did that today. Of course, you had to be very nimble and very quick to get out of shorts and to kind of do an about face and go the other way. That's the most challenging thing. Once you see that change in a stance, you have to be ready to act, because the way that the market has been going lately, you know, the volatility is high and we're changing directions very quickly. The best thing that I've been doing is just keeping my positions very tight, very small, and staying nimble. If you have too many positions on and the market changes directions like this, you're going to get hit pretty hard to try to change all of your positions in a matter of 15 minutes to 20 minutes. It's just not going to work in this market. So so there you go. There's the end of the market wrap up. You know, futures, everything did kind of close on the highs of the day. So we'll see what we get tomorrow. Have a great evening. Take care.